Welcome to That's Good Broncos. I'm Brandon Perna. You probably know that. And today I watched the Broncos' final press conferences with John Elway, Vance Joseph, Joe Ellis after this season concluded, which is probably the last thing any of those guys wanted to do today. But a few things were said in that presser that really caught my attention, and I wanted to discuss them. And then something after the press conferences on Twitter caught my eye. Mike Klis, the official bearer of Broncos bad news, reported on Twitter today that the Broncos are interested in talking to, get this, Ben McAdoo and Ken Zampese for their quarterbacks coach. Now these moves make a lot of sense for the Denver Broncos if their goal for 2018 is to assemble the worst coaching staff in human history. Both those guys, McAdoo and Zampese, were fired before the end of the season. Ben McAdoo showed levels of incompetence in New York that would make Al Davis proud, and Ken Zampese was fired early in the season after the Bengals offense went, and I quote from Sports Illustrated, on near mutiny because he was so shitty at his job. I hate to be a negative Nelly, but if these are the first two names that come to the Broncos' minds, we are fucked for 2018. Does anyone in the Broncos organization realize that Ben McAdoo was literally the biggest joke in the NFL for the entire season? Ben McAdoo was Aaron Rodgers' quarterback coach for one season in 2012. It's the only time he's ever been a quarterback's coach, and he coached Aaron Rodgers, which means all he had to say was, keep doing what you're doing, Aaron. Zampese makes some sense because he was the Bengals QB coach from 2003 to 2015, and he had an uncanny ability to trick the entire city of Cincinnati into believing in Andy Dalton. So there's that. This could also mean that the Broncos have some interest in A.J. McCarron with Zampese. Maybe. Who knows? That's good, Broncos. This episode is sponsored by SeatGeek. There's a link in the description, and if you use my promo code, that's good, you're gonna get $20 off your first ticket purchase. Now, the Broncos season is over, yes, but if you wanna go to a Nuggets game, an Avalanche game, or a Mammoth game, or whatever the hell other sports happen in Colorado that aren't the Broncos, use my code, that's good, and you'll save $20. It also works for concert tickets, comedy tickets, any kind of tickets you want to purchase. I'm trying to help you save a little money on SeatGeek. So, take advantage of me. What I thought would be a boring end-of-season press conference actually got me fired up a little bit. And I'm about to rip Vance Joseph for something he said in today's exit presser or whatever. And I want to preface it by saying this. I am fully aware that this is a, hey, we had a bad season, we're moving past it, but we're here to answer your BS questions. I don't know why I did this. BS questions anyway type of deal. I know Lynch, Simeon, and Osweiler will not be the starters next year, so defending Paxton Lynch at this point is irrelevant. And I also want to make it clear what I'm about to say, the intention is not to rip on Paxton Lynch. It's a criticism of Vance Joseph as a coach. I believe a head coach should not throw his players under the bus, and I think that's one of the things Vance Joseph does very well. I think the coach's job is to publicly defend their players and then to coach and criticize them behind closed doors. So I have no issue with Vance defending Paxton Lynch. What bothered me was Vance Joseph defending a terrible, terrible football play. Basically, Vance said he didn't have any problem with Paxton Lynch's second interception on 4th and 15 against the Chiefs, and that those things are just gonna happen. So I went back and I rewatched that play because I initially thought it was terrible when I watched it on Sunday. But after rewatching it, I now think it was horrendous, which is technically worse than terrible. This was the situation. It was 4th and 15 in the red zone, so I get that if you turn it over in this situation, it's not a huge deal in that an incompletion in that scenario is the same as a turnover, or a completion that doesn't pick up a first down or score is the same as a turnover. However, after emphasizing how important it will be to continue to watch film to get better during his press conference, he said he's okay with his young QB making 1, a terrible throw, 2, a terrible read, and 3, an interception that cost his defense about 25 yards in field position. On this play, Paxton Lynch had a wide open D'Angelo Henderson right here, And we saw Henderson break tackles on a screen pass once in this game, so hitting him here underneath would be a smart move. And then you have Lynch targeting the shortest player on the team, running a short fade into the end zone. There's not one thing about this play you should be okay with as a head fucking coach. You've got a 6'5" Jordan Taylor on the left side of the field who had already caught 2 circus-like catches in this game. Only one counted. So why isn't your primary goal in that situation to just throw the ball up to Jordan Taylor in the corner of the end zone, where if he doesn't catch it, your chances of something bad happening are far less than a late underthrown ball at the goal line. Yes, young QBs will make mistakes, but to say you're okay with this play is mind-boggling. And to me, it means either Vance Joseph really didn't pay close enough attention to what the film says on this play, or he simply forgot how fucking bad this play was. Now, yes, it's a meaningless game, a meaningless play. I didn't think twice about it until I heard the head coach of the Denver Broncos say he was fine with what happened on that play. That shit's gonna happen sometimes, huh? And it wasn't like he was specifically asked about that play. That's what's even more baffling. In fact, John Elway was the one who was asked about Paxton Lynch. Vance just chimed in to reaffirm that he believes that Paxton had that he did good things during this game. And so he went out of his way to say it wasn't a terrible play. And that worries me. That worries me a little bit. Unless deep down he believes it was a shitty play and he's just saying it wasn't for the sake of saying it. My point, my silly, stupid point here, is you don't hear great coaches defending garbage plays for any reason. Especially for no fucking reason. Now, to give Vance Joseph credit, something I did like hearing him say was that in terms of helping young quarterbacks coming out of college, that it's the coach's responsibility to try and adapt some of what college football teams do with their offenses in the NFL, because they have seen other teams have success with it. The Chiefs, the Eagles were 2 teams he mentioned. So I think that is actually smart. And I think it's something that can help a young QB as they learn to transition into playing the NFL game. So I'm not just here to shit on Vance, because if you've watched this show long enough, you know I don't hate him. I don't think he did a great job this season, but I'm not one of the people that is demanding that he be fired, or that is really, really butthurt that he didn't get fired. I think it's a 50-50 sort of deal where you want the consistency of a head coach for at least 2 seasons, as opposed to trying to find a replacement for Vance when we don't really even know who the hell that would be, or if there is a better option out there. So, just to make things clear, okay? Another thing I liked was John Elway getting a little feisty, taking a little jab at D-Mac. And I like both John Elway and D-Mac. But what I enjoyed about it was, I forget even the question that D-Mac asked him, but Elway went on to say basically, maybe one day, once he retires from being a general manager, that he'll come work for the media, because then the media would actually have somebody who did know everything about football. Referring to D-Mac, saying D-Mac acts like he knows how to fix everything. To me, it means John Elway pays attention to what the media is saying about him, what the pulse of the whole collective Broncos country is, and I think that's a good thing. I don't think you should let it make your decisions for you, but it means Elway's not oblivious to the tone and what people are saying about the team. It means they're very aware of it. And I also like that he didn't want to stand up there and take shit, you know? I like the fight in Elway there. I like the fight in Elway. I know if I were D-Mac in that situation, it would have terrified me. And if I were asking questions at the press conference, it probably would be an entire month before I had the courage to ask another question. So that was just entertaining. And that's it. That's your recap of the season recap of the Broncos season. based on press conferences. Now, if you're already a Patreon supporter, you received this video a few hours early today before everybody else. I'll try to do that as much as I can. I need your support on Patreon, patreon.com/thatsgoodsports. I got big dick shout outs for Joseph Cito upping his $3 to $5 donation, and Scott Sunday upping from $5 to $10. Yeah, Scotty. Evan McCreary and Tom Brett. Thank you guys. Thank you. Thank you very, very much. And with as little as $1, $2, $3, $4, $5 a month, you can keep this channel alive, independent, and fan-funded. I engage with everyone on Patreon, and I hope to do more of it. Hopefully I can add more things to Patreon as my funding grows there. But again, this video was made available a few hours before I posted it on YouTube. Another benefit of being a Patreon supporter. Thanks for watching here. As always, subscribe if you haven't already. Share the videos on Facebook. I'm on Twitter at Brandon Perna. Yippity-doo. Let's hope we don't get a McAdoo.